In the previous video, we looked at what is a dictionary and got a basic intuition and the syntax of a dictionary. And in this video, we'll continue with the idea and take it forward. Okay, so let me just create a new notebook and I will call it dictionaries. Okay, so let us first learn how to create a dictionary. So I told you a dictionary is created with curly braces. So if I just say dictionary, my dictionary, okay. So this is the empty dictionary. And if I do a type of my dictionary, it says it is a dictionary, which is DICT. If you do print of this, you will see it will say class DICT dict class. Okay. So this is a dictionary. Now, how do we create key value pairs? Okay. So let me create a key value pair. Let me say that I will create a key value pair where the key will be name of the country and the value will be the capital of the country. So I'll create a key. So the first key is India, and I told you here the key is a string. I told you keys can be string, numbers, or tuples. So here I have India, and then let me have the capital of India, and I will add one more key here. Let me add France, and then I will add the value, which will be okay, and I'll add one more element. Maybe we'll say let me say UK, and what is the capital of UK? London, I think. Okay. So I've created a dictionary here, and let me name this dictionary as capital capitals. Okay. So yes, this is the key value pair. I have three keys and three values. Okay. Also keep in mind that dictionary will always have a one-to-one mapping. Okay. So India can have only one capital. So if India is a key, then there can be only one country called India, and there can be only one capital to one capital to India. Okay. There can't be multiple capitals, or there can't be multiple entries. The values can be here instead of New Delhi. I can have a list or I can have a dictionary, but the key will always be unique. Okay. That is something that we need to keep in mind. So this is capitals. Now I told you about some basic concepts like keys and values. So how do we take out keys and values from this? First of all, we can take out how many elements are there. So we can do length of capitals. So this is applicable. It says 3. 3 means there are 3 keys in this. Okay. So what are the keys? So I can take capitals dot keys, and if I do, it will give me a list of what are the keys. So there are 3 keys: India, France, and UK. If I want to find out what are the values in this, so I can take this keys and I can just call it values, and it is giving me the values. So values are New Delhi, Paris, and London. And I also told you that dictionaries are not ordered. Dictionaries are unordered, which means there is no sense of order. So I can't go and say capitals index 0. It's not going to give me anything. It is giving me a key error. Okay, key error, which means 0 key does not exist. The position sense that India is coming first here, it does not mean that it is at 0th index. There is no such order here. If it was a list, in list there is a order. First element is India, second element is France, third element is UK. But in a dictionary there is no sense of order. Okay, so that is something that you need to keep in mind. So let us see. So then how do we index? So we will index with key. So if you go to a dictionary, you are always looking for the key and corresponding value. So you are searching with the key. So here also we'll search with the key. So if there is capitals and I want to find out what is the capital of India, I will search with the key. Key is the index. Okay. So here I'm getting the value as New Delhi. So India in capitals is giving me the value New Delhi. If I do capitals of France, then it will give me Paris. But if I try to look for something that is not there, for example, if I look for Pakistan, okay, it is giving me key error. Key error means this I'm looking for this key in the dictionary, that key does not exist, therefore I'm getting a key error. So this is how we index. There is one more way of accessing, but right now I'm just giving you an introduction. Now if you want to change, I told you that dictionaries are mutable, which means I can add a key, or if there is an existing key I can change the value. Let me try to add another country here. Okay, let me try to add another country. So I can very easily add another country. So in a dictionary we can create a new key. For example, I can say capitals, and I can just say add another country here. Say I want to add Germany. Okay, so I'll say Germany, and equal to, so index of index of Germany, what or key of Germany, what value I want to add. So what is the capital of Germany? Berlin, I think. Okay. So I've added this. I have created a new key. Now if I go to capitals, you will see I have Germany also. Okay. So this is the key. There are four key value pairs. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you might see that this is now looking like a dictionary. Instead of word and the meaning, we have country and their capital. We can also create dictionaries, for example, if we want to keep track of students and their performances. Okay, so we can say marks, and I can create a dictionary. And key has to be something unique. So for every student, there will be a unique roll number. So maybe roll number 1, and he has scored maybe 60, 50, and 40 marks. And then, sorry, there is roll number 2, and he has scored 60 marks, 30 marks, and 10 marks. Okay, and then I have roll number 3, and marks are 90, 30, and 20. Okay, so now I have this mapping, and you can assign any meaning to these, and later on we'll see that this dictionary also gets translated into a table. We can also very easily translate this into a table where we have roll number 1 and marks in maybe English, maths, and science, that way. So dictionary is also easily translatable to X, easily transferable to a table, but that is something we'll see later. But here, if we want to find out what is the marks scored by student uh, with roll number 2, so I can just go and say marks, and I can say 2. Now please note that this 2 does not mean the position 2, it means the roll number. So here, if I, instead of 10, I make it 10, 20, and 30. So here, if I want to find out the marks of this 20, I can't say marks of 1. Okay, it will give me a key error because 1 is not there. I need to find out using 20. Okay, and I can do marks dot keys. I'll get 10, 20, 30. If I do marks dot values, I'm getting the values. So these are the values. Okay, and if I want both of them, I can do marks dot items. So if I do items, then I will get a list of tuples. Please pay attention. What I'm getting here, I'm getting a list of tuples. So this is tuple number 1, this is tuple number 2, and this is tuple number 3. And in each tuple, there are two elements. The first element is the key, the second element is the value. So roll number 10 and the values are this. Okay. So if you do marks items, if you find the first value, sorry, you can convert this to a list. Okay. Because this is actually a different data type. Ignore that. Just convert this to a list, and this becomes a list of tuples. And this tuple will have two elements. The first will be key, the second will be the value. So if you take out the 0th one, this is roll number 10 and his marks. Okay, if I want to take out 1, this is roll number 2 and their marks. Okay, this is how we can look at the items. So if you want the keys, do keys. If you want values, do values. If you want key and value both, then you can use items. Okay, and we'll do more practice on it. If it seems like too much information, don't worry, just grasp the basics of what a dictionary is. So let us see few more things about dictionary. Let us talk about different ways in which we can create a dictionary. Okay, so here I've shown you one simple way of creating a dictionary, but there are other ways of creating a dictionary. So how do we create a dictionary? One way of creating is the one that I showed you, this way. Another way of creating a dictionary is by using dict keyword. Okay, just like list keyword, here we have the dict keyword, and here we can create a dictionary. And here we can say, for example, if I want the key to be country, I can say India is equal to New Delhi, and I can say France. This is a syntax. It's not very commonly used, but I'm just showing you. Paris. Okay, so this also becomes a dictionary. Whatever you pass here becomes the key, and whatever you give here equal to, that becomes a um, value. So this is another way of creating a dictionary, and you can also create an empty dictionary just by assigning some value like this. So these are some common ways of creating a dictionary, and accessing the elements of a dictionary I've already shown you. Now we can also modify. Say for example, I told you dictionaries are mutable, so let me take this and let me say modifying elements of a dictionary. So modifying elements will mean adding some element or modifying some existing element. So adding element I've shown you. I'll show you again. I want to add marks of another student. So marks of maybe roll number 40 has come in, and then that person has scored 70, 40 and 30. And it's not needed that all the values have to follow a convention. I can write anything. Maybe here there are 3 elements, here I can just have 2 elements. That is fine. It will cause you problems when you're trying to convert this to a table later on, but as far as dictionary is concerned, there is no issue here. Okay, so key value, key value, key value, 40 is having only 2 subjects. That is completely fine. Now I want to add something. Now I want to add the third marks to this 40. So I can easily modify it. I can say marks 40. Okay, I got 70 and 40, and then I want to append something to this. So I can say marks 40 dot is equal to, okay, I'll show you the simpler way, and then I will show you the actual way people use it. So 70, 40, and I can add maybe 80 here. Okay, and now if I go to marks, you see 80 has been added. So this is how you can tamper with any title. Suppose if I have capitals and I want to change the capital of India from New Delhi to maybe some other capital, say just for example, instead of New Delhi I just want to make it Delhi. So that is possible to change, and you can see now instead of New Delhi I have Delhi. So you can change, you can add. Let us see what else is there. So in the previous video I showed you that whenever we are dealing with a data type, and if we want to see what are the possible options in that dictionary, that we can do. So let us see, using the directory option, what options are there. So you see here we have clear. So clear, you already know. I'll leave it for you to try it out. Clear will clear the dictionary and empty it, just like in a list. When we used clear, all the elements were removed and we got an empty list. Copy is something we'll see later. Okay, from keys also we'll see later. There is get, so we'll talk about get. Items I showed you, keys I showed you. Pop you already know, so just try out pop on your own. Okay, and pop item, just try out on your own what will pop do. So pop will, if you remember, it will take out one element and it will give it to you. So try out what is pop on your own. Update, I will show you. So let us talk about what is get, and then let us talk about update. And values, you already know, dot values, if you do, you'll get the values. Okay, so let us talk about these two. Let us also okay, let us see these first. So get, what basically get does, suppose if I have, say for example, marks. Okay, so you want to access um, roll number 20. What are the marks scored by roll number 20? So if you do 20, it is there. But suppose you want to find out marks for roll number 50. Okay, and you don't know whether 50 is there or not. Okay, so you don't know whether 50 is there or not. So if you do marks and if you do 50, it is going to give you a key error. So what get does is, get is also a way to fetch the values for a given key. But if that key does not exist, then get will not give you error. It will handle it gracefully. Now it will be used later when you are writing code where you don't want your code to break just because a key is not there, or you don't want to check for that key, and if the key is existing only then you want to fetch it. That's too much work. So if you want to avoid that, we can use get. So what will get do, let us see. So if I do marks dot get, if I do get like this, you see it did not give me any error. Actually it did not do anything. In fact, it returned me something which is a none in Python, which means nothing. Okay, so instead of giving me an error, it is giving me um it is not breaking the code, it is giving me a none, and based on that later on I can handle the situation. If I want to have some default value, for example, I want to show NA. This is possible, that if 50 is not there, then don't give me error, don't give me none, give me some default value. Okay, so that is possible. So now you see, if I search for 50, it is giving me NA. But if I search for 20, it will give me the marks scored by 20, which is 60, 30 and 10, 60, 30 and 10. So that is the need, or that is the requirement for get. Right now you might not appreciate why this handling is needed, but later on when you are writing code which has heavy usage of dictionary, you will appreciate that um, there is this get function which will enable you to um, write your code in such a way that will not break because of key errors. Okay, so when we are practicing and doing exception handling, that time we will revisit the concept. But for now, just know that get is another way to fetch the value from a dictionary using a key, where if the key is not existing, it will not give you an error, but it will give you, either it will give you none or it will give you some default value, whatever you have specified. Okay, now let us talk about update. Okay, so update method in dictionary is used primarily to merge two dictionaries. Okay, so if we try to relate it with lists, in list we looked at append, extend, and concatenation, where list A plus list B, something like that we did. So in dictionary, how do we do it? Okay, so if we create two dictionaries, one is section A, and here we have roll number 1 is having 40 marks, and then roll number 2 is having 40 marks, and roll number 9 is having maybe 50 marks. And then I have section B, where I'm creating roll number 3 is having 60 marks, and roll number 12 is having 40 marks. So these are the two dictionaries that I've created. If I want to merge these two dictionaries, I can say section A dot update, and I can say section B. So now what will happen? Section A has elements from both the dictionaries. So that is the need for update. If you already have a dictionary and you want to add some keys, and those are also available in the form of a dictionary, then that becomes a problem of merging two dictionaries or adding all the key value pairs of one dictionary to another. Then we can use update method. Okay, and earlier I was talking about pop, so it just came to my mind that there can be some confusion around pop. So let me just clarify it. See, in case of a list, when we do pop, I told you that the last element is removed. But in case of dictionary, I told you that dictionaries are unordered, which means the order of the elements do not matter, or we cannot access the elements by the order. Then how would pop work? Because pop is supposed to give you the last element, but the concept of first and last does not exist in a dictionary, because dictionary does not have any order. So how would pop work? Okay, and how would pop item work? So let us talk about these two little bit, because it can be slightly confusing, because dictionaries are unordered, but in some sense, in case of pop, they do behave as ordered, but order is in terms of insertion. Order is in terms of insertion means when that element was added. For all work purposes, dictionaries are unordered, but just in case of pop item, uh, there is a sense of order in terms of when the element was inserted. Okay, if this is slightly confusing for you, you can completely ignore this part. But because I mentioned about pop and pop item, I'm just clarifying, taking a couple of minutes to clarify it. Okay, so let us see what is this pop. Let us get capitals. Okay, and if I do capitals dot pop, okay, and if I just do this, you see it says expected one argument got 0, because in pop, um, it has to give me the last element, but in this dictionary there is no such thing as a last element. Here uk is there, but it is appearing as the third item, but is actually not the third item. Okay, there is no order, so when we do pop, we need to give the key, or we need to give the position of what we want to pop. So if I do uk, then it has popped, and it is giving me the value. Now if I go to capitals, you see uk is returned. So here it makes sense, there is no order, so we need to provide the key. But if you do pop item, and this is slightly bit confusing. Okay, so if you are feeling that this is not making sense, you can completely skip this part. And this is happened after some recent versions of python, where insertion order is actually maintained. So in that case, if you do capitals, if I have capitals, if I do pop item, you see it is giving me france. Why is it giving me france? That is very curious. Let me go back and create capitals again. Okay, now if I go and look at capitals, there is only india. Let me create this dictionary again and try to explain it one more time. Okay, so here if I do pop item, it is removing the last element, but I just said that there is no such thing as a last element in a dictionary. So how is this pop item working? So just for this function, it considers the insertion order. So uk was inserted the last in this case, so therefore when we do pop item, it will give me uk, and when I do capitals, uk is now removed. In a sense, this uk is the last element in terms of insertion, But when you're working with a dictionary, there is no such order. You can't say that UK is the third element and France is the second element and India is the first element. There is no such thing. But only in case of pop item, it just remembers which was the element which was last entered, and it will pop that element out. It will behave it will behave little bit like a list. Okay. So this pop item is not used much, but if you want to pop something, you will pop using the key. So that is what pop and pop item does. Okay. Please keep in mind dictionaries are unordered. Only for this pop item, there is a sense of insertion order, and whichever element was inserted last, that element gets popped. And when you do pop item, it returns you the item. Item means key and value pair. But when you do pop, it only returns the value. Key is there, and that key will be removed from the dictionary, and it will be given to you. Okay. Now, if you do capitals here, and if you do dot clear, and then you go back to capitals, see it is emptied the dictionary just like how we would have expected. Okay, there is also one another way of let me take this here. There is another way of deleting some key. We can also do delete. I can say capitals and I can say France, and then I can go to capitals. You can see France has been removed. So this is also one way to remove key value pair from a dictionary. We can use the del command also, or you can pop it. That is also possible. So pop will give you the value back so that you can store it and you can do something with it. Del will not give you, it will just delete the element. Okay, and let us see few more things about dictionaries. I was talking about merging two dictionaries. Where is it? Okay, updating. So there's one more way to update or merge a dictionary. We can see, if you do, you can create another dictionary and you can say section A. Again, these are alternative ways of doing the same thing. You don't have to memorize everything right now, but I'm just documenting everything so that when you watch the video multiple times, you will have something extra. Okay, so see, this is also one way of creating merged dictionary. So here I'm creating a new dictionary and I'm using this double star before the name of the section, and then again double star before the name of the section. This is also a kind of merging the two dictionaries together. Okay, so this is one way to merge the two dictionaries, and this double star before a dictionary, this is something we'll see when we are talking about keyword arguments in a function. But for now, just remember this is a syntax to merge two dictionaries, or you can also do update. Now, one final thing I want to show you in dictionaries, which is dictionaries within dictionaries or nested dictionaries. And this is again very common. You will find it very commonly, very common application. So suppose I have marks and I have this type of a dictionary, but here I want to also keep track, like for roll number 10 I'm having this 60, 50, 40 marks, but which subject they scored what marks. I want to maintain a dictionary that way. So let me create a dictionary, new dictionary, and in this dictionary I will keep the key value same. I'll keep the key value as roll number. But in terms of value, instead of list, I will have another dictionary in which I will store the subject and the marks. So English, he scored 60 marks, and maybe math marks were. So this is one key value pair where the value itself is another dictionary. And this is very, very common use case. In fact, within this dictionary, again, there can be a dictionary. Within math, again, there can be another dictionary like math. I can make it as another dictionary, which can be, in theory, the person scored 20 marks, and there can be practical, which can be 20 marks. Okay, so you can see this is a dictionary where key is 10. Within key, there is the within key itself, there is a dictionary. In that, there is a key math. The value of for that math is again a dictionary, and it can go on and on. Okay, so this is one way of having nested dictionaries. So let me create another value here, 20. English marks are 60, 30, maybe make it 20 and 10, and science marks is 10. Okay, let me keep it this way. So this is another dictionary. This is a nested dictionary. Okay, and say for example, instead of science here, let me make it English, maths, and let me make it Hindi. Okay, so for student number 20, I have marks for English, math, and Hindi. For student number 10, I have marks for English, math, and science. Now let me try to access. Let me try to access what were the practical marks for student number 10 in maths. Student number 10, let me write it this way. How much did in math? So this becomes an indexing problem now. Let me try to solve it. Okay. So how will I solve? I'll go marks. And first of all, I want to find out data for student number 10. So let me just index 10 and get the data about 10. So for student number 10, I have English, math, and science. I want to see how much did student 10 score in math theory, let me just say. Okay. So this is the data, and this itself is a dictionary. This itself is a dictionary. So further I can index and I can say math. Okay. Now I'm having another dictionary which is having theory and practical. I just want theory. So I can say theory. Okay. I got that he scored 30 marks in his maths theory. Now suppose someone says that how much did student number 10, let me take the same example, and say how much did student number 10 score in Hindi. Okay. In Hindi. What will happen for marks 10? Here I'm going to go and say Hindi. Now what do you expect what do you expect here to happen? We'll get an error because for student number 10 I don't have Hindi as a subject. Okay, so this is where I'm going to get a key error, that Hindi. So what did I say, how we can avoid this error? Instead of doing direct indexing, I can use get. Okay, so instead of doing this, I can do get. So what will happen? Instead of giving me an error, it will give me none. If I run this, I'm still going to get an error because this much part again has to be a dictionary so that theory can be taken out. But if this part is none, or if this part is empty, or let me just say, I'm just going to say 10. Okay, default value is 10, or default value is na, and after that again I'm trying to index theory, so I'm going to get some error. So let me first just do this much and show you, and see I'm getting na. Now if I try to index theory on na, I'm going to get error. I'll show you. Again it is giving me type error because I'm trying to do indexing on a string. That is not correct. Okay, on a string if you're indexing, you can index only using integers. That is the issue. I'll explain that when I talk about integers. Okay, so here what can I do? Again I can do a dot get. Okay, sorry, we cannot do dot get. The standard practice is here you return an empty dictionary. See, now if I run this, I don't get any error. It will not give me anything. It will not give me anything, but it will also not give me any error. So this is another standard way of using. This is very, very commonly used when we are trying to index something in a nested dictionary. When the key is such that the value is a dictionary, inside that dictionary there is a key which again has a value as a dictionary, and we are going on in nested dictionaries, dictionary inside dictionary. In that case, we very often need to use get, and the default value should be an empty dictionary, so that when Hindi is not available, it will give me empty dictionary. On that empty dictionary again I do a get, and I am looking for theory. That is not there, again I will not get an error. I will just get a maybe an empty dictionary here. I can maybe right, or some default value you can give here, maybe n slash a. So now if I try to find theory marks in Hindi for student number 10, I will get a na. Okay, so this is a few things about dictionary that I wanted to discuss, and in the next video we'll do a lot of practice on all of these things so that everything that we learnt in this video is solidified. But before practice, I will suggest all of you to do this on your own. Create your own dictionary. Think of some scenarios, maybe people and their phone numbers, or people and their contact information. In the contact information you can add name of the person, and contact information you can add address and phone number. Okay, and for some people you can have email, some people you can have phone number, some people you can have a fax number, and then try to index and see what happens. Okay, try to create your own nested dictionaries and then try to index and try to play around and see under what situation you get what kind of error. And if you struggle a little bit, that is completely okay. If you have any doubts, please post it in the comment section. I will definitely help you out. And it is very important to understand dictionaries because these data structures, list, tuples, and all of these are will be very, very commonly used. So that's why I'm taking a lot of time and going very slowly so that these fundamentals are very, very clear. Okay, so before I close, let us just go back and see. Okay, we discussed values, we discussed update, we discussed pop item, pop keys, items, get, copy. So copy I did not discuss, and from keys I did not discuss. So copy I will talk about later. uh, Copy is basically about creating copies of any element, and there are different types of copies and how the memory is allocated. is something of a different discussion. So I'm parking it for later. What is this from keys? This is an assignment for you. Try it on your own. And remaining, I think all the elements I have, all the different things I've shown. This set default also I did not show. So try to find out on your own what is this set default and from keys. This is assignment for you. Try to read about it from some source. Otherwise, in the next video, I will talk about it. Okay. So that's all for this video. I hope you got good understanding of dictionaries, and let us do some practice and then we'll move ahead to some other data structure. Okay, thank you.